Well, go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. This is a weekly outlook of the U.S. major pairs, currency pairs for the week of Sunday, August 2nd to Friday, August 7th. Okay, for us at Simple 123 Trader Group, the key to playing the major pairs is to look at the US dollar futures index to determine what it's doing, what it's going to do, what the expectation for the moves are going to be, and that will help you in determining what pairs, what major pairs to play going up or down, and which ones to avoid. So the first thing we do is take a look at the US dollar futures index, and this is what I'm doing here on the monthly time frame. So we're in an overall channel on the monthly, and this chart here on MT4 does not give me the entire picture. I'm just going to show you a chart on investing.com that actually gives us the full picture. So here on the monthly time frame here, and if I shrink this down, this is the entire chart on. So this gives us a better picture of what the full US dollar futures index chart looks like. Okay, so they call it the US dollar index futures. Okay, and so you can see that we've been in this huge channel, and it looks like we're in a triangle, and basically we've been going to the downside. This is from 1985, the beginning of that chart, to this down move in down 1992, up to this level in 2000, 2001, back down again 2008, and now we're heading to the upside, to the trajectory back up to the top trend line. That will be the basic direction of this chart. So currently we're in a channel going this way to the upside, and it looks like we're playing out a pattern that should take us back up to the top of the channel. However, this is the monthly time frame. This could take years to play out. You can see from this low in 2008, we haven't reached the top of the channel, and we're now in 2020. So that's 12 years later, and we're getting there, but we're not nowhere near to the top at this point. From 1995 or 1992 low here, it took to 2001. That's 9 years for that to get to that level. From 2001, it took 7 years to get here. So it's been, again, it's 2008 bottom. We haven't reached the top yet, and it's 12 years have gone by. So a lot of time still to go, perhaps, for this to make it to the top. Okay. So the key here is what we want to look at what's going on in here. That's what we're most, of course, and looking to find out to play the major pairs. All right, so that's there. I'm going to go back to MT4. So now you can see again that we're in this channel. We're heading to the upside. We're kind of midway to the top of our channel, and we're looking for this to continue going back up again. So our channel is going to be way up there somewhere. All right, so that's the kind of look at it. But right now we're in an overall downtrend on the monthly time frame. Okay, so on the weekly, I'm going to make this a little bigger so we can see this. So on the weekly, we've been again in a downtrend, very strong. This is a very strong support area here, and it looks like we've come into that support area and looking to make a little bounce. Okay, the bounce, what we're looking at here as a bounce, would more than likely be a counter trend move in this move going down. So it's just a counter trend bounce. It looks like it's going to take before we continue back down again, perhaps maybe just touching this trend line, before it bounces back to the upside. That's what I'm looking at on the daily. Okay, you can see there's that move. We came across in a triangle here as well. Very choppy, up and down. And then the big drop. Again, another channel here. We went up and down in it. And then another drop, and we're dropping. So again, this move that is taking that right now to the upside, because we're right at a support area, is a counter trend move to before it continues one more time to the downside. Okay, that will be the expectation, and we have to have an expectation of what the chart's going to be able to do. And if you can't have an expectation, you don't have an expectation. If you can't see what the chart is going to do going out into the future, a day, 2 days, a week, 3 weeks, a month, 6 months, then you can't play this game. It's just impossible. All right. So our expectation right now is that this bounce, again, a counter trend bounce, is legitimate. And you can see on the 4-hour, we reached the bottom. We formed a pin bar, and we're pushing back to the upside. We're right at a resistance area already. There's some resistance here, here. So how far up is it going to go back up is the key question at this point. What the most likely scenario would be something like this. It would play out something back up into this area, and before it turns around and continues back down. That would be my expectation. But right now, the key takeaway on the 4-hour and the 1-hour is that we have strength in the U.S. dollar going to the upside right now. Okay, so that would be the takeaway for the week. The expected move again could be up, and then a retrace of this current move, and before we get another move, another push to the upside. That will be an expectation. However, things can, of course, do the opposite. It can come to this area and decide, okay, that's it, and it's going to come back down and break this low and continue to the downside. But my expectation is that we should continue to the upside this week. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for, and we'll see. So let's take a look at the major pairs and see how they fare. We'll look at the Aussie US dollar, and I'll go to the weekly. Very strong to the upside, but we're right at a resistance right now, and it looks like we're getting a little turnaround at that point. So daily, we're at a resistance. 4-hour, we get a pullback. Just like the US dollar has reached its support and pulling back to the upside, we're getting resistance and pulling back down. So again, the expectation would be a move back up before we get a drop this way. That would be the expectation. Again, I could be totally wrong, and this could just continue straight up and break that level. If that occurs, then you go with the market. But right now, the expectation would be for this to drop. Okay, so that's a look at that's the 4-hour. On the 1-hour, again, this is the expected move, and then a move back down. Okay, let's take a look at Euro US dollar. So Euro US dollar is the pair that basically mimics what the US dollar is doing to the opposite direction. So on the weekly, the euro has done this. On the weekly, the US dollar has done the exact opposite. It has come from a level here, drop down, and then drop down again. So it's basically doing the opposite of what this is doing. And now we're getting the bounce. So they're about like that. Okay, so that's the play on the weekly. So on the daily, again, we're up at a resistance area, and we're looking at a pullback happening right now. On the 4-hour, we're getting that pullback. On the 1-hour, there's the pullback, and we might get a retrace and then another drop, similar to what the Aussie US dollar is doing. Again, I could be wrong, and we could get continuation. And if that's the case and this breaks this level, then we're going with the market to the upside. That means the US dollar has gone weak, and that's, you go with what it does. Okay, but we have to have an expectation. Let's take a look at the GBP US dollar on the weekly. Also very strong to the upside, but we're coming into a resistance area. So this resistance area, it's up here. We're at a resistance area here as well, and we are button up against that. So you can see we've hit that area a number of times and we're back into it. 4 hour, very strong, but we're pulling back. 1 hour, again, we're pulling back. So is this done? It looks like that could be possible. And then we get a turnaround coming back down again. Again, we could go higher and break that level and continue to the upside. And if that's the case, that means the US dollar has turned weak and we'll be looking to go long. Okay. New Zealand US dollar on the weekly. Okay, also very strong to the upside, and we've hit resistance again. Okay, so dropping to the daily, very strong to the upside, 4 hour, very strong, but now we get a pullback. So again, pullback and then a push back up, and then a push down will be the expectation. It could also, again, break that level and continue to the upside, but the expectation is for it to fall. All right, so on the hourly, again, you can see a big drop, push back up, about 50% turnaround to the downside would be my expectation. If this continues and breaks this level, then all bets are off and we're going long with this. Okay. USD CAD on the weekly. Okay, USD CAD is looking just like the US dollar. It's just doing the same thing. So the expectation is for this to come down to this level. This is the weekly time frame, so that can take a while to play out. Okay. And on the daily, we have come to a support area there, and we're bouncing. Okay, so the same thing that the US dollar is doing. 4 hour, we're bouncing. 1 hour, again, big strong bounce here, and it looks like we want to continue to the upside. So that would be what I'd be looking at for USD CAD, going with the US dollar to the upside. USD Swiss, very strong move to the downside. Again, similar setup to the US dollar, and it's fallen to that level. We've broken through some support area, and we're looking at a little bit of a bounce here again as well. Daily, there's the bounce. 4 hour, there's the bounce. 1 hour, okay, big huge bounce, and looking like we want to continue to the upside with this move. Could take us back up into this area here before we turn around and come back down. Okay, so again, strengthen the USD versus USD Swiss. USD Japanese yen on the weekly. And we have, again, a big push to the downside, hit some support area right in here. And it's bouncing off that support area. On the daily, there we go, and we're bouncing. Okay, but it looks like at this point that we do have, this is just a counter trend move, and we should have another push going back down again. Okay, so be aware of what's going on, and big huge bounce, and we got to go with what it's doing. So we could have one more push to the upside before maybe back up to this area before we turn around and come back down. Okay, and this all goes. We can take a quick look at gold weekly, monthly, just to see. You can see now gold is broken through the highest high, and it's on its way to the upside. How much strength does it have? Weekly very strong, daily very strong, 4 hour very strong, 1 hour time frame also very strong, looking pretty good. But we're at a very critical area. This could be just a fake out move to the upside, and then it will be coming back down, just like the US dollar. So be aware of where you are. Okay, and lastly, Bitcoin, real quick look, and on the weekly. Okay, you can see we're at a very critical junction with resistance areas. Okay, and looks like we have some room to push to these upper areas. However, right now it's in a very strong resistance. 4 hour, we're right up in there. 1 hour. Okay, so you can see a very, very choppy area, and it's fighting to get through here. The expectation will be for this to break through to the upside for Bitcoin in this week. All right, so that's a look at all the major pairs in the US dollar futures index for this week for our simple 1, 2, 3 member group. Profitable trading to everyone. We're done now. Thank you.